The DNA Diaries, a page 256 library publication, a book authored by Danny Roberts Ameke, and read to you by Charlotte Mugisha. Story 1.
Cloning and the Future. Chapter 2. The First Wife's Warning. Sometimes the deadliest ghosts aren't dead at all, they're just waiting for someone to listen. End quote. Fiona Adeyemi. Rebecca stood in the doorway like a ghost summoned from a nightmare. She was older than Helen expected, late 40s, maybe early 50s, but her eyes were sharp, alert, and filled with something that wasn't fear. It was more like fury disguised as calm. "I'm not dead," she said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "But I've been hiding." James didn't move. He just sat there, his tea untouched, his face unreadable. Helen's breath caught in her throat. "First wife?" she managed to ask. "You told me you lost her in 2001. "I did," James said very quickly. "In a way." Rebecca ignored him and turned to Helen. "You need to know who he really is," she said calmly, "and why your children are in danger." A trip to Ginger. The next morning, Helen woke up alone. James was gone, the house was silent, and the children still asleep. A note lay on the kitchen table. "I'll be back tonight. Don't do anything stupid." Signed, James. She packed a bag, dropped the kids off at school, and drove east toward Ginger. It took 6 hours, but she found Rebecca exactly where she said she'd be, in a small brick house tucked behind a sugarcane plantation, guarded by 2 German shepherds and a rusted gate that groaned when opened. Inside, the air smelled of old paper and dust. Rebecca handed her a photo album. "This," she said, opening it to a page marked with red ink, "is the real James Mwanda." The man in the picture looked like James, but not quite. His eyebrows were thicker. There was a scar above his left eye, not on the right, like for the man Helen married, and his smile was different, warmer, and less calculating. "He died in 2002, Rebecca said, "murdered by the man you married." Rebecca's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. She met James, the real one, in 1998. They got married in a small ceremony in Nakaseke. He was a rising civil engineer, working on major infrastructure projects across Uganda. But his brother was troublesome. Twins born months apart, identical, except for the scar. The fake James, she called him. He always wanted what his brother had. Their father favored the real one. Clients trusted him more, and women liked him better. In 2001, the brothers started working together. Projects went smoothly at first. Then tensions rose. By 2002, the real James began receiving threats. Someone tried to sabotage a bridge he was designing. Another time, his car was tampered with. Then one night in August 2002, he disappeared, and his body was never found. 3 weeks later, someone showed up at their home, claiming to be her husband. I recognized him immediately, but I also got scared because I knew the type of game he was beginning to play. Rebecca said with a cranky voice. "He had all the documents, passports, contracts, and even our marriage certificate. He threatened me, said if I didn't disappear, he'd kill me. So she ran to Ginger, changed her name, and built a new life. Until now." The locked safe. Rebecca led Helen to a hidden room beneath the floorboards of her living room, where dust covered everything. Time had forgotten this place. Inside was a metal safe, rusted but intact. On the front, and scratched into the paint, were the words, "For wife number 3. Helen stared at it, unable to say a word. "That's you," Rebecca said softly. Then they forced it open together. Inside were documents, photos, and a single phone number written on the back of a passport photo. The documents were horrifying. A forged death certificate dated March 2003, listing James Mwanda, deceased, a South African visa issued in the same name, stamped April 2003, and a handwritten letter addressed to wife number 3 which read, "If you're reading this, you've already discovered the truth. Now you must protect the children. They are the key to everything." Below it, a message in a line circled twice, "Check their birthmarks." Back in Kampala that night, Helen waited until James was out before calling the number she picked from the metal box. It rang once, then a voicemail clicked on. A distorted male voice spoke. "You've come farther than the most, but the truth isn't enough. You have to see it with your own eyes. Go to the church where you married him, find the priest, and ask him about the widow." Toot, toot, toot. The phone went into silence. Helen stared at the screen for at least a minute. The word widow continued to echo in her mind. I returned to the church. The following day, while at work, Helen couldn't concentrate, so she left work and drove to Kansanga. St. Andrew's Church, the same church where they had exchanged vows 12 years ago. Father Semanda greeted her warmly. "Dr. Namukasa, what brings you here?" "I need to see my marriage records," she said with a broken tone. He hesitated but said, "Of course, come with me." Minutes later, he placed a thick file on the table. Helen flipped through the pages and everything seemed normal until she saw it. Under the groom's section, marital status, widowed, spouse, deceased. In brackets, Liana Chitende. Date of death, April 5th, 2003. Her stomach dropped. Liana Chitende, the Kololo murder victim. The woman whose killer's DNA matched James's. Only now, the man who married her had claimed to be a widower of a woman he supposedly killed. That evening, Helen checked each child while they slept. All the 4 had birthmarks. Nothing unusual except one, the 3-year-old. He had a crescent-shaped mark on his neck, exactly like the one on the autopsy photo of Liana Chitende, the victim and the so-called widow, the woman whose killer bore James's DNA.